Everybody. Welcome to the stream. I've just been pondering and reading about the UK budget today, and I just came across this graph, which I thought was interesting. Change in family income next April as a result of these tax cuts. So, for those of you not in the know, the budget is basically a whole bunch of tax cuts. And it's stamp duty. They've abolished the top rate of income tax, the 45p rate on earners over 150k. They've also cut the lowest band of tax from 20% to 19%. They lifted the cap on bankers' bonuses. And is that it? There's a couple of other things. Yeah, stamp duty. Oh, the increase in national insurance, which we had under the last government, which is just income tax, really, has been reversed. Oh, and the corporation tax is no longer rising, so it's going to rise from 19% to 26%. But it's like it's not doing that anymore. So anyway, this is the this is the result of all of these changes. So great. The top decile of income are gonna gain £90 a week, and the bottom are going to gain literally nothing, and negligible until you reach kind of the sixth decile, until you reach basically the top half of income. So there you go. That's Liz Truss's government for you. Let's play Dark Souls and forget about all of our troubles. Loud. Is that loud for anyone else? Jeez. I feel like the loading screen or the welcome screen is much louder than the actual game. Hello everybody, how are you all? I thought I'd check in with a very light gaming stream. I haven't done a gaming stream in a while, and I've been busy at work, main work, and yeah, and then I've had a few chats with people, but I haven't done this. Why is Truss so determined with trickle-down economics when it's been debunked in the mainstream? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It was never really a credible theory. It was just like some weird, kind of, some weird kind of bastardization of economics by people like Arthur Laffer, Ronald Reagan. And these guys go down pretty easily. Ooh. So it never really had any credibility in from any school of economics that I know. Trickle down, but and it's like I'll tell you one of the really annoying things I've seen recently. So I was reading people like from the Cato Institute or whatever, the Institute for Economic Affairs, the free market think tanks. And they're like, oh, trickle down economics was never a thing. It's a straw man. And it's like, well, obviously not, because you get these massive tax cuts for the wealthy. Like we literally just have, like Thatcher did, George Osborne did it as well. You get these massive fucking tax cuts that disproportionately benefit the wealthy, and it's like, well, that's trickle down economics on the guys that it will like spur them to work harder or spur investment. And now the line of right wingers is like, rather than defend it, because obviously it's indefensible. Because obviously it's indefensible, is to just like fucking pretend it doesn't exist. So it's like, if it does exist, like, okay, you can say that you don't Oh shit, she's got a bit more about her, that one. Oh, it's dark, so I can't see. Right, let's upgrade to Great Soul Arrow. Yeah, so... I'm not sure where the poison's coming from. Is it just, like, standing near her? Yeah, so they're like... You know, come out against it, then. Be like, trickle-down economics is bad. Don't be like, oh, it doesn't exist, it's a figment of the left's imagination, blah, blah, blah. Just like gaslighting. Pretending not to believe in things that you have previously advocated in some way, shape or form. Ooh, jeez. Alright. She's a bit... Oh, you actually can't hide there. Oh, she can just basically poison you, like, instantly. Ah. The trouble I have is... It is quite a good mechanic in Dark Souls 2 that you... So you can't... I can't aim from there. I need the... It's funny, as a caster, I have a lot of trouble against casters. Yeah, so anyway, basically, we literally... What we've literally got in this budget is more trickle-down economics. So that doesn't... So that absorbs your... stamina, that attack. I like the heavy soul arrows because they stagger. Any comments on the new Prime Minister? Well, I just ranted about her budget for the first part of this stream. The Yanis guest stream, the Yanis one. I love the way you talk about the Yanis guest stream as if that's a thing. I haven't tried. I'm afraid to say, my buddy. Hello. Do not produce light. So I'm guessing if you use a torch, something bad happens. Yeah, so the Yanis stream, I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a thing. I could email him. Who do I have coming? Whoop. I feel like the healing button's pretty unresponsive on this, I would say. Like, sometimes I press it and it just doesn't work. Or can you only... Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, so... Do I have an opinion about decentralized planning, e.g. Pat Devine's negotiated coordination? I have never heard of that. Although I do like Pat Devine in general. I've actually met him. He's a nice guy and he had some interesting things today, but to say, but I did not talk to him about decentralization. Hello, this game is about how queens always betray kings. Do you think the recession is almost over? Is it? Is it a recession? Is it a recession yet? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, like... What do you think are going to be the consequences of this? Because it's just... It's just like it is literally it's MMT for the rich, isn't it? It's like a bunch of unfunded tax cuts, mostly targeted at the wealthy. Which I just think is a terrible idea. Oh shit, you idiot. That was the worst possible thing that could have happened. So, I think it's inflationary, you know, because especially the tax cuts on the rich. I mean, when I spoke to Gary Stevenson, I think he explained this quite well. You know, it, if you're talking about like housing costs, like what are wealthy people going to do with that money? They're gonna they're going to they're going to invest it in housing. And just it's just going to end up inflating the housing market even further. What industries should be run as SOEs? Good question. I'm not a massive fan of SOEs. I think they have a place. I think in terms of like I would like a state investment bank. Yeah, state-run investment bank I think would be a really cool idea. And maybe like a state-run land bank that basically bought and managed the price of land, sort of like a central bank now, but just for land. I would like to see that, to be honest. So yeah, like the state in kind of stabilization roles. I'm not against like I'm not against like you know state owned enterprises in other areas. Whoa. You mean life ring at risk? So that cloud like damages your stuff and also poisons you. I mean, what I'd prefer to see if you're talking about something like the cost of living crisis is a lot of the energy companies turned into consumer co-ops. I think that would be I think that would be really good. That'd be a better way to run them. For God's sake. I hate it when they have drinks. I feel like DS2, like, I mean, I tweeted about the bosses not being that hard. Genuinely, like, the non-boss areas I find more difficult. Ah, bastard. Yeah, I mean, that Mariana Mazzucato I really like. I think she's She's good. She's kind of reinvented the, or reinvented, revitalized the conversation on the state. They're really annoying, these spear guys, because their range is just mad, and they spin round, so they don't, you think you've dodged them and then you just haven't. Especially when you're a caster, you're kind of like, you're like standing away at them, away from them at an angle, and then they just fuck you still. So yeah, like Mariana Mazzucato, it's all about the state, right? But it like often a kind of arm's length.
Guardian of the crypt. Countless dead rest here in peace, cradled by the light. I am a finito. This task was countless souls rest somewhere rich.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you come for him? You will find many castles, sir, but they rest here. Perhaps in the past, the former king of light, he feared humans. How queer you humans. This place is well. Death is. Tell me what you desire.
There you go. You have to speak to him about 10 times to get him to fucking tell you something. Guild of the Insolent. Mate, I'm a mage. I don't need any of this. Counter attacks when damage is taken. Ooh, Elizabeth Mushroom. Youth. Soul Spear. Oh mate, there's some good shit here. I've already got Soul Vortex. Soul Spear. Two. Is that like a weapon or is it like a heavy damage? Can I afford it? I think so. No. Shit. I thought that was a different soul. Oh well. um. Right, I'm gonna have to close my blinds because I just can't see a fucking thing. Stupid crypt. There you go. That's a bit better. With being within Australian Eastern Time. Oh yeah, you're welcome. I wanted to mix up my times a little bit more. Right, what's through there? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Corn wages versus real wages. I don't know what I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, lizard lady. Yeah, the next UK elections, I mean, we've got... Oh, I thought it was going to fall off then. It's stupid. Like, she's unelected and... And we had... You know, we just had so much shit change. And yet they're saying like 5 years since 2019 when Boris Johnson was elected narrowly. See, sometimes the enemies on this game are just really, really stupid. Like, what are you doing? And then other times they seem really, really smart. Oh. That's annoying. Ta! There you go. Right on cue, curse of the commentator. Can I... Do I have a thing to repair? I don't have any fucking, put that on there. Yeah, so like, we should, I mean, we should have another general election, I think, in May. But, you know, when I say that, I mean, I think we should have one anyway, because we've now got an unelected Prime Minister. But at the same time, I just think the Tories would get elected again. Oh, here we are. Wait, is that just to restores all equipment durability? Oh, but it doesn't. Oh, but not if it's broken. Trying to find the bloody thing that. Repairs. This is what happens if you just don't keep track of your items. I literally have no idea what's going on. By the way, the gargoyles on this game. Again, this might just be because I'm a caster. But I beat them first time, and there's like 6 of them. The gargoyles on Dark Souls 1. There's fucking 2 of them, and it's so hard. Right, okay, I might as well just replace that one anyway. Get that one. Cool. Perfect. Hello, SMN. I'm guessing you're an Aussie as well. Have I come across the concept of donut economics? Oh, it's not even a boss. Oh well, still worth it. How long do you think it'll be before mainstream economics starts acknowledging more than just GDP and growth? Like, yeah, I have come across that. Whoops. I have come across donut economics. In fact, I've read it, and I'm gonna speak to Kate Raworth in early November. So, oh, Jesus, he really fucked me up there, didn't he? So, oh, you gotta go to a smith to repair broken items. Okay, bear that in mind. The thing is, the only time I find that my items get broken is when it happens like instantly because of some ability that's being used on me. So I can't like prepare. I like fire punch. I'm guessing there's one of these motherfuckers here again. Oh, jeez. Alright. That's a good ability. The sword these guys drop lets you cast. Whoa, okay. Wait, do they just keep coming back? Oh. Fucking hell. Am I best off just like running through this place? Because I'm already getting sick of these fuckers. Yeah, so donut economics is interesting. I mean, mainstream economics. This is one of the many irritating. Right, okay, where are they coming from? One of the many irritating back and forths you can have with a mainstream economist is that they'll be like, "Oh, well, I don't, you know, we don't really." They'll be like, "We don't just believe in." We don't just believe in GDP growth. Like, if you ask them, they'll be like, of course I don't. I understand there's more to life. I understand there's the environment. But then it's like, well, okay, but in practice, it does seem to be mostly about GDP growth. Like, is there a true acknowledgement of... Like, if you look at, like, the Nobel Prize, right, to Nordhaus... That is literally like a cost-benefit approach to a cost benefit approach to the climate, and you're like, maybe many economists would be like, oh, I don't agree with Nordhaus. Like, well, why did he get the fucking Nobel Prize then? Like, come on. But I think there may be an awareness of sorts, but it's not embedded into the way they do things. It's not. There's no theory of it. Not like the donut, like Kate's donut, where she's got, a model, a simple model, but a model nonetheless of. Oh, these are actually fucking enemies. Jeez. Oh, fucking hell. Alright, I don't like the look of this. I think I do. I will say, depends what you mean by mainstream economics as well, because it's like, certainly you can say, like, in the mainstream of economic debate, there is an obsession with GDP. Um, these guys actually aren't that bad, are they? What do I think about participatory economics? Yeah, that's in the FAQ. Basically, not a lot. I'm sorry. It's one of my most asked questions, actually. So at one point, I'll probably have to make a video about it. Just don't know that much about it. The wall, the wall, the wall. Is there a fake wall there? That's just a drop down. But isn't that just where I was? Do you think there's a disconnect between behavioral economics insights and the way valuations are still done? Well, that's a very in-depth question. So let me just... oh, it's you, Bevan. Hi. Let me just explain. So when economists do like cost benefit analysis, say for the environment, they'll typically place value on the environment. But there was a fake wall, Clemens. So that's what I took your advice as meaning. Yeah, so when they'll typically place valuations on the environment because they're trying to say, like, suppose we invest X amount of money. What's this sword saying? Suppose we invest X amount of money to stop climate change. Is it worth it? Like, given the amount of money we're going to spend, is it worth the damage that climate change would cause if we didn't invest? So they try to reduce everything to like a common denominator of money. And so the investments are typically kind of easy. Wait, where the fuck is this? Because it's just actually a money amount. But the environment is much more difficult to attach a value to. So what they'll typically do, there are one of two things. There's like stated preference or revealed preference. Stated preference is where you basically just ask people, like, say, how much would you be willing to pay to avoid, the park that's near your house getting turned into a car park or something like that. And then the revealed preference would be to say, okay, well, how much do people pay to live near that park in terms of like, say, house prices. So like you take house prices somewhere that's near a park versus house prices that somewhere that isn't near a park. What's the difference? And then they attribute that to like how much people are basically willing to pay for the park. That oh hello. So essentially, you know, what Bevan is asking is, when we acknowledge that people, both in their statements and in their behaviour, can be biased. Is that Soul Spear? That looked like Soul Spear. Oh. Cut off. Can be biased. Like, to what extent do those findings fall apart? And I think they do fall apart at a pretty base level. I mean, I personally, my reason for not liking them actually doesn't really have much to do with behavioral economics, to be honest with you. But putting that to one side, it is the case that people might not, for example, they might have limited information or limited capacity, so they might not be considering all of the things, including like the presence of a park in their house purchasing decision. Mate, I'm just so out of out of. Or they might misvalue it. Oh, here we are. Oh, I need to equip that. They might misvalue it because they don't have a clear preference. Like in a lot of cases, people don't necessarily have clear preferences in the way that is supposed by neoclassical economics, right? So it's like they kind of construct a preference and you're not getting access to their inner preferences and things like that. And there's lots of specific biases. So for example, one really relevant one is like projection bias, or like more specifically, like, or more generally, sorry, sort of mispredicting the future and mispredicting your future welfare. So it may be the case that, like, okay, let's say people pay a lot to live in California, thinking, oh, if I live in California, I'll be happy because it's really sunny and blah blah blah. But then they might just like pay loads to live there, but then just underestimate the fact that, like, even if you live in a sunny place and there's like beaches and it's cool and there's a lot going on, like a lot of your day-to-day life is actually going to be pretty similar to back when you lived in like fucking Scarborough or wherever you moved from in the UK. So you might completely estimate your future welfare, and in that case, like, the prices are going to be like an upward biased measure of how much welfare you actually get from living in California or living near a park. So yeah, basically, do they just keep coming back, these motherfuckers, or no, yeah, they just keep coming back. Right, okay. I thought I could actually get rid of them. This is stupid. So that projection bias is a good example. Oh god, this was not a good idea. Alright, I think I may be fucked here. Jeez. Mate, I hadn't been to a bonfire in fucking ages. Am I going to have to go all the way back? I mean, this is like... Oh, break the graves. Of course. Of course. Thank you. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, Wesley, I would run through. I just wasn't sure where to run. Whoops. Fucking hell. The not being able to aim thing really fucks you in this game as a caster. Right, okay. I'm hiding. Don't fight in this room, just run through it. Yeah, interesting idea. Ugh. Are they gonna follow me, or I just leave it? Yeah, fuck them.
Human, do not produce light.
Yeah, behavioral economics and the mainstream. I mean, certainly, I I tend to agree. There's been a bit of an overemphasis on nudge, right? Like, there's a really interesting article. I feel like it might actually be by Barack Obama and David Cameron or something ridiculous, where they literally admit that like it's kind of a way for them to avoid fixing systemic problems. You know, it's like a really hands-off approach to say like, oh well, how are we gonna solve climate change? Well, maybe we can, you know, put smiley faces on people's energy bills if they're using the right amount. If they're using the right amount, or like, you know, all of these other nudges, you know, nudging savings rates and things like that. Instead of more systemic fixes to, for example, like the pension system and placing it on a sustainable footing. Oh, here's the bonfire. Thank you, y'all cowards. Good name. Right. Right, okay, I don't have to deal with those fucking idiots anymore. Yeah, so there's definitely, yeah, so like some policymakers have even admitted it, and like there's definitely been a when he gets you, he gets like all three. Some policymakers have admitted it, and like I think behavioral economists and behavioral scientists, they do they are starting to acknowledge this. So there's like there's a paper by Lowenstein and Chater. Oh, for fuck's sake. If he hits you once, he literally gets you all three. There's that paper, Lowenstein and Chater, about the S frame and the I frame. Oh, I fucked it. Yeah, the S frame and the I frame in behavioral science. So like the individual frame and the systemic frame. Oh, but they're... Oh, okay. So they're gone permanently. All right, thank God. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they were starting to do my head in a bit. I haven't watched H Bomber Guy's video about Dark Souls 2, but I will do after I've finished it. Um, is she a... Oh, fuck. I thought she was in, like a friendly. But yeah, the S frame and the I frame, so they're saying like how behavioral economics can help to inform more systemic policies. Because it's basically, this is the way I see it, right? And I had a whole Patreon video, by the way. If I were on camera, I'd look at the camera sheepishly then. But like, yeah, I have a whole Patreon only video about behavioral economics and how I view it. Like, it's just hopefully a better approach to human behavior, and it can hopefully help us to understand policy and, you know, the world, not just policy, in a better way. But that doesn't mean, you know, you have to have behavioral interventions instead of just instead of normal interventions, right? It's like behavioral economics can be a justification for a normal intervention, you know, a normal policy like a tax, you know, like a like present bias can be a justification for like a sugar tax or something like that. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that. I'm just saying the way you approach things should be changed comprehensively by behavioral economics instead of it just being a case of like, so if you get them like this, then they just can't cast. But obviously if there's more than one of them, that's not possible. Oh, jeez. Fuck it. Fucking hell. Oh, for fuck's sake. Pissing me off. Hot take, behavioral economics is just economists realizing marketing exists. Yeah. It's not an entirely inaccurate summary. What are you saying? What's not my best video? What, this one? Or, because that's true. Or my behavioral economics video? Because I would be insulted if you meant my behavioral economics video. I might get rid of these guys just in case. Oops. Is there an item other than a torch, obviously, which can, like... Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my staff to right hand because I need a torch on, really. So I just can't aim at the enemies at all. Oh, H-Bombs vid on DS2. Oh. Oh, really? I mean, obviously I will... Like, H-Bomber Guy is literally my... I mean, Sean... Well, all the big ones kind of inspired me a bit. But, yeah, I found, like, Sean... Sean especially inspiring, but, like... H-Bomber Guy's sense of humour and his way of drawing you in, I think, is pretty unparalleled. Only ContraPoints can do it as well, but, like, just in a very, very different way. What do I think about dirigisme? Is that like some joke or something? Is that like the Infrared Collective, like something that people made up to troll streamers? Because it just, I mean, it like no offense, it just sounds like one of those things. Just like I never heard it before. CO2 debt. The concept is that we loan energy. We have to pay back in CO2 recapture. The interest is the damage caused by climate change. Well, I've never heard of it. I mean, I think one of the things to say is that carbon recapture is like, I feel like it's not. I don't know, it's a bit like smashing a window and then like putting it back together again. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, like I'd rather just not smash the window in the first place, and I don't think we understand the climate enough. Am I back in the same fucking place? Oh, no, no, no. Alright, alright. I don't think we understand the climate enough to kind of borrow from it in that way. Do you know what I mean? Oh, mate, yeah, I've confused myself now with this stupid fucking... Just checking it's not a mimic. I think it was Bloodborne where I played it after having played DS1 and I literally... Because there are no mimics in it, right? And I was just going around hitting every chest like a madman. They make you so paranoid, these games. Right, what's this? This looks good. Yeah, so I don't think carbon recapture... So, firstly, I don't trust it. Oh, that's good. And secondly, I don't... Even if it's good, it doesn't seem like it's scalable. And, yeah, like, can we just do... Is it just a case of repaying climate change with interest, or is it like we're doing irreversible damage? You know what I mean? That's what concerns me. And then also, it's like definitely if you've got that kind of thing, and it starts to sound a bit like a, you know, a financial instrument or something. Am I just gonna run through here? I can't get through here, can I? Because it takes so long to get through the It takes so long to get through the door. They've designed this so that you actually can't run through enemies that way. Zigzag. In case they start throwing shiz. When are they going to stop chasing me? That is the real question. The bell kills the monsters. Oh my god. There's more. So yeah, like, I don't... drop iron into the ocean. What does that do? So yeah, I'm not... I didn't finish my point because I got scared on DS. But I... Oh yeah. This. Does that... What happens if you kill him then? Send you a five... Send me a fiver for your question. Oh, thank you, Touring News. Alright, it seems like... I feel like it's not fucking, come up. So you just have to do it manually, but just like, I'll guarantee I'll answer it. But yeah, sorry, the final thing I was going to say about that was like, undoubtedly those schemes I think benefit like wealthy corporations where they just end up sort of being able to buy and trade all the permits, and they, you know, the worst case scenario, I mean, it depends on how they're designed, right? But they could almost become like financial instruments, and you just end up like speculating on them, and then there'll be like futures on them and stuff like that. And that, I don't think that's what you want. Like, that's not what you're trying to create when you're creating that kind of scheme, right? No. Ah, you see, that's the type of attack I'm talking about with these guys. If I hear the bell, go back and kill the minion again. Thank you. That is good advice. We won't get rid of all CO2 emissions. Capturing has to be a part of it. Yeah, I do agree with that. I do see that logic. Like, whatever we can do, right? I do agree with that. But I don't want to, rather than emit more and then capture it, you know, I'd rather be like, okay, let's not emit more. But what's out there? Oh, mate. That was such shit castering. It's so different to Elden Ring, this, isn't it? Like, I mean, obviously, but DS2 in particular, because Elden Ring, like, the focus is all on the bosses. And, like, the run-up, like, there's just... There's bonfires just, like, next to most of the bosses, or, like, really close, and there's, like, bonfires everywhere. Okay, that's a staggered attack. But entering the fog gate, I guess they are quite slow, actually. Ah, mate, there's so many of them. I just don't want to... Right. I get stuck at the fog gate. Is this going to be the fucking king? Yes. Public options. I think healthcare. You know, I mean, I live in a country with nationally funded, like, state, not monopoly, but, well, effectively a monopoly on healthcare. And, yeah, I just think having that kind of... Having that kind of option for healthcare is just, like, fundamental for helping out the poorest and addressing some of the issues with the ways private companies exploit, like, people in the healthcare market, because, like, health is a... Oh, you idiot. Greedy. So greedy. Okay, he hits pretty hard. I think I need to put on my physical damage reduction ring. The music, yeah. It was loud, wasn't it, that? I can turn it down slightly. Bellboy. Isn't Bellboy what he says in Quadrophenia? Have you seen that film? Give me torch. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to go is here. Because you got to go through these dudes. Oh, I can light the torch with the bonfire. Yeah, that is true. I don't actually think this is the best way to go. I think if I go to the other bonfire, I've got the link. Yeah, I just unlocked the shortcut. Mate, fuck it. I can travel. What am I saying? Yeah. There you go. Normal soul arrow. Right, so I reckon I can run past these knights. Yeah, so Bevan, what were you saying about like how you don't think that's an important public option? Oh, fuck it. Go around the side, but it's these two that are the annoying ones, look. Oh, for fuck's sake. Um, yeah, why isn't a public option so, you wouldn't count it in public options? It needs to cover all people to be effective insurance. Pardon me, sorry. Uh, okay, so, but you're talking about a guarantee of insurance because there's a public option, right? So it's like some people would have private and some people would have public. And yeah. I do not need... Oh, no, wait. I do not need this one. I need this one. Okay. Different use in words. Yeah, I don't know if we mean the same thing by public option. I was getting a bit confused then. Wait, just tell me what you mean by public option. Come on, chase me, chase me. This is one of those things where I like, mate, they were not standing there before. This is one of those things where it's like, it might actually take less time for me to just fucking kill them. Mate, why are they standing there like that? There we go. Just. Oh, shit. Jeez. He does hit pretty hard, this guy. Jeez. I think he's taking half damage. So where's the dude who paid me to ask a question and then it like didn't show up because my stream thing is like bugging out and then I didn't answer it at all because I feel very, very bad and I am grateful for your tip. Oh, Jesus, I did not see him winding that one up. Bit of a let off there. So you see what I mean by these bosses are easy? Oh god, all these fuckers are coming back. See, I'm more scared of the fucking guys coming in after me. Although they're running away now. The dollar milkshake theory and the global sovereign debt crisis. Whoa, 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 you're gonna have to explain that. Sounds interesting though. Mate, these guys have got more difficult attacks than that boss in a way. They're more staggered. Look! Oh, fucking hell, right. Okay, here we go. Leave me alone. Is that the king? That's weird. King's ring. Produce the symbol of the king. That's something that you get in all the fucking do not attack him. Oh, hello. She's here. That means something. I've been doing something right. Yeah, produce the symbol of the king. That's what it says at these various places.
Through the king's gate, and venture to the far east. Bearer of the curse, if you are to be the next monarch, then one day you will walk those grounds, without really knowing why.
So DS2, am I finding it fun? Yeah, I think I find all Dark Souls games fun. Like I do like it, but yeah, I do see the flaws with it. Like the dodge is weird until you got like quite a lot of adaptability stat, and the bosses aren't as good. It feels like an old game, whereas Dark Souls 1 remastered, I sort of like obviously you can tell it's old, but it didn't. It felt really fresh and like interesting, despite it being oldish. So I need to go to the King's Door anyway. So yeah, but DS2 has some interesting mechanics like water and like oil and you know the dark, and there are some interesting parts of it. So to answer your question, touring news, have I thought about the global sovereign debt crisis? Yeah, I think it's a massively neglected issue. I think because what from the 80s, you know, I mean for a long time, but especially it made itself in the 80s, felt in the 80s. You know the I need to update my skills, but yeah, like it became clear that the US's monetary policy is the world's monetary policy, right? Because you saw global sovereign debt crises when with the Volcker shock and with the massive rise in interest rates in the oh, I thought I had one. In the USA, you then also had like I feel like I should level this one because I want more slots. I'm keep running out of spells. Yeah, so you also that just made a massive difference to especially the Latin American countries which had their debt denominated in dollars and which had to um, engage in a lot of transactions in dollars and which still do, and that's true across the globe now. So you've got when the monetary policy in the US changes in a big way, then you end up with all of the other countries in the world affected, and yet none of them have any real influence over the US's monetary policy. And so it can be anything from like a rise in interest rates, which obviously causes capital flight from the countries where interest rates are lower and massively affects them when they have to use the dollar. But it can also be things like quantitative easing, right? Which also have like a massive effect by basically, flooding the world with dollars and creating that, because that's a guaranteed safe asset for the world that can affect other countries massively. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware. I hadn't looked into how recent monetary policy had affected the globe. Like, I didn't realize it was affecting Japan so much, for example. But I just think it's, we need mechanisms to make sure that monetary policy in the USA, and I mean, what we need is another global reserve currency, in my opinion. Or, I mean, yeah, it has to be another global reserve currency because there need to be mechanisms over it that allow other countries to have a say in how monetary policy is done. It's funny because it adapt. Okay, I'll level up my adapt more as well. ATN and ADP. I've got like 50 int, but yeah. So touring. Yeah. So I mean, I think one of the interesting. Yeah. That I feel like I mean, Adam Tooze has written about this. The globe has become more dependent on the dollar as a result of COVID, but also the Ukraine war. So if you look at like central bank policy, is the King's Ring just a ring? Opens the King's Gate. Here we are. So if you look at central bank policy, like the major central banks in the world, by which I mean like the rich central banks, all have free access to dollars. So the dollar has become an absolute. That's because the dollar's become an absolute necessity for them, and they have to be able to freely exchange it. And because they are part of the, the West and their allies of the US, and they're richer and things like that, the US gives them that kind of access. This is quite cool, but without it, they'd be fucked. And then, but then you see that's the situation that a lot of poorer countries find themselves in. But are you looking at when you just need to freely swap your currency for dollars to be able to survive as a central bank? Are you looking at a situation where the US dollar's becoming even more dominant? yen will crash down to 200 yen to 1 USD. I mean, the pound's gone down relative to the USD, and it will have even more as a result of the recent budget. Although that I wouldn't say that's so much the an issue with. Oh, this is actually a boss. Shall I summon this guy? Yeah, Ben Hart. I wouldn't say that's so much an issue with the recent crashes, obviously because of the budget. But yeah, like I think capital flight from countries with low interest rates. Well, just because investors can make more money investing in countries with high interest rates, right? Oh, hello. Oh, I was a bit slow there. Oh, jeez. He can't even distract them, this bloody Ben Hart. Okay, this seems like this fight's actually quite difficult. Oh my god, okay. Fuck's sake. A debt in baskets of currencies. What do you mean, Sophia? I mean, you can have a debt in baskets of currencies, but like, would you necessarily? Why would you? Like the dollar is the currency that a lot of countries borrow in. Like it's the most guaranteed stable currency. It's the one that international investors want to trade in. It's considered a safe asset. Like countries will tend to borrow in the dollar. Have I ever dabbled in investments myself? No, I don't have enough money. I think one of the things about investing is like you need to have money to do it. I think, and that's something that yeah, like you need like a bit of money because if you invest in like the stock market, right, and by which I mean a standard investment of like in the the S&P or the FTSE, just a diversified portfolio, spread it out across the whole stock market or all the major companies in the stock market, then you're going to get like quite a good return over the long term. But you need to wait over the long term, and you also need to have like quite like a fair amount of money to actually make any money in the first place. He's slow moving, so I actually need to go for this one. I do find that like somebody was asking about how much I'm enjoying Dark Souls. Like the hitboxes on DS2 are definitely like there's something weird about them. Like it just doesn't quite seem to track properly with like where you are. Oh, jeez, that is a long sword. Fuck off. Whoa. Oh. The mini budget. Yeah, I started this stream by ranting, well, both, about it, so you might want to check the very beginning. It's going to benefit the rich, and it's also, I feel, inflationary. Especially in terms of house prices, which is... Oh, there we go, should have seen that coming. Oh, that'll serve me right for reading the chat when I'm fighting a boss. Got hit and almost fell off the edge. Right. Oh, how are they not dead? Oh, they are dead. The BOE have been too slow with rate rises. Yeah, I mean, I had an interesting chat with Francis Coppola on this, and she basically thinks rate rises are just the wrong thing to do. But especially, you know, if you're gonna do them, oh what? Do they fucking heal each other? Ah, oh, fuck. Okay, I get it. All right. Hmm. You have to kill them both within 20 seconds. Okay, yeah. It might actually just be worth dying here. Just because I'm going to get to a stage where I run out of, like, spells, Exos flasks, blah, blah, blah. I still, and, you know, it's difficult because these days, with social media and everything just seems to move so quickly, right? I still maintain this inflation is like, it's not, you know, it's not embedded. I don't think it's embedded in like spirals or anything like that. I don't think inflation expectations are especially high. I think it's caused by a whole bunch of contingent factors. Now, you know, transitory and permanent can be like a bit of a loose taxonomy in the sense that what I'm talking about is the fact that inflation is caused by specific factors that haven't embedded themselves, but that doesn't mean that they can't last for a long time. Like, you know, how long can the war in Ukraine last? It could last for fucking ages, mate. It could last for 10 years, you know. So I'm not trying to say that it's not it's not going to be long term. But what I can say is that it's not generalized inflation. It's like, yeah, much more localized inflation. And oh, jeez. And that's like, you know, supply chain shocks as well from the pandemic, which I think those in particular will sort themselves out over like the medium term, because you know there's a lot of demand and businesses respond to demand. They do expand capacity. We're not in a neoclassical world. We're in a post Keynesian world, and demand can affect supply in the long run. So yeah, I'm not like, all this is to say that, you know, I said inflation was transitory about, well, almost a year ago, right? And although I underestimated how long it would continue, I still stand by the, you know, how I came to my conclusions, which is that I thought there were a whole bunch of factors that were pandemic related, war related, and you know, related to like the stimulus to a certain extent in the USA. And I do think that these can be, that I do think that these will like, these can be fixed and they will pass. I mean, I will say that I don't think that the US government certainly seem to be doing something about it, you know, with Build Back Better and the CARES Act and things like that. But I think that the UK government obviously aren't. You know, we could be investing in like renewable energy and things like that, but obviously not. Just fucking die, you little pricks. Alright, there we go. We're not getting our gas from Russia the moment the war is over. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. But like, what I'm saying is if they made ooh, giants. If they made you know, steps to expand renewable energy and things like that, basically reversing David Cameron's policies with the green stuff, and you know, other expanding it in other ways to try and ameliorate the energy crisis. You know, if they made these kind of, this supply side progressivism, right? Investment, government investment or government sponsored investment in the supply side to expand it. If the, and you know, okay, so I don't really know what to do now. Am I supposed to go over there? Then I would think that inflation could be remedied, but I don't think it can be. With our current set of policies, certainly in the UK. So again, all that is to say that it's transitory in the sense that it hasn't become embedded as a generalized phenomenon, but also it's potentially going to be long term because we're not doing what we should do to address it. The final boss spawns in this room. But what do I do now? Do I just have to go back and like DLC? Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of DLC content out there, isn't there? I've also got, there's like other places where I can is the final boss hard? Go look for king doors. Yeah, I've got king doors. I've got 2 king doors that I know about, and like all 3 DLCs. Although I did complete most of Broom Tower, But then I got to the boss there, Fume Knight, and I was like just not doing any damage to him. I don't want to be hollow anymore. Yeah, the DLC is like, it seemed hard. It was harder. The energy system in the UK is absolutely dreadful. There's just so much monopoly and inefficiency. I did a whole bunch of research streams on it. I don't know, Grove, if you, I don't know if you were there on them. Yeah, I played Elden Ring Sleepy Crane. I completed it a little while ago. We're going to go up to 25 on this, because how do I get to... Is it every 5 that you get more slots? Also, I do feel like my cast speed's a little bit slow. Did I get one of these? Did I get one of these?
I'm glad.
Did I get one of these? No. Okay. Yeah, Elden Ring. Sleepy Crane. If you do... I mean, if you want to watch me play Elden Ring in the past, then you can go to my... You can go to my... playlists. There's like loads of gaming streams on there. Yeah, Grove. So that's if you go to Unlearning Economics Live, they're easier to find, I think. Oh no, I don't want to. I don't think it's here. I think I need to go here. Oh fuck's sake, wrong one. Yeah, the Unlearning Economics Live channel. So I've got like my cost of living research streams there, and I think there's some interesting ones about especially the water in the UK, UK privatization, things like that. Also, my talk with Grace Blakely touched on a lot of this stuff. But yeah, I was pretty horrified by the whole thing, I have to say. Right, there's a king door around here. How often do I stream? I've got a good radio voice, in fairness. Thank you. 1 second. Let's get rid of these guys. How? That is banned. That is banned. They shouldn't be able to do that. I'm sorry. I have an automatic ban bot that, yeah, should have, like, stopped that many emojis from being used at once. Yeah, thank you, George. I stream inconsistently. I want to stream more, though. But I am going to stream more, and I'm going to do it more, like, you know, consider it part of work and, like, just do it during the day instead. Because what I've been doing is basically just doing, like, my normal job. And then being like, well, if I've got the energy, I'll stream in the evening. But I'm just going to, from now on, it's like, this is my job. This is what I want my job to be. YouTubing and streaming. And so I'm going to try and make it a little bit more consistent and do it like twice a week or something. So like one gaming stream a week and then one like more substantive, intense stream a week. But it's nice to check in because obviously my videos are so they take so long to make. You know, like once every 3 or 4 months. And the script for the latest one is almost done, by the way. But yeah, they take so long to make, and I want to check in with everybody. Welsh Water, which is... Yeah, Grove, I think I do agree with you quite wholeheartedly that I don't... You know, nationalisation. Oh, it takes me to this area. I was wondering how I could get here. Because I was stuck for a while in DS2 and I didn't... Yeah, I didn't know where to go, so I was really exploring every area and I was like, I cannot get here. But wait, how do I get up there? Now that's the question. What, are you telling me I'm going to have to fucking Homeward Bone back to that? Oh, okay. Yeah, streaming's a lot of fun. I think it's really nice. everyone, and also like the conversations, the more podcasty type stuff. Like, oh no, okay. I need to stop wasting homeward bones. Actually, I was like next to the bonfire then. It is funny though, with like Elden Ring especially, and well, all of them, I end up just like not using my consumables because I'm like, oh no, I'll wait until the perfect moment, and there's like, so with the DS2, I've just been like absolutely caning them. So how do I get up there? Right, so now it's already okay. So it's taken me to this area, like after going through the fucking king door. By the way, what did I just pick up? I completely wasn't paying attention. Too busy chatting to everyone. What the fuck did I just pick up? Alright, okay. Um, yeah. This is DS2 Classic. You speak to the glowy trees with the dragon soul. I don't have a dragon soul though, do I? What was I going to say about Welsh water? No, I mean it. Yeah. Nationalisation would be my. It is something that I'm quite skeptical of because I do think that in the past, I mean, I'm going partly from the UK experience. Nationalisation can work and it does work in many contexts, but it doesn't always work. And I think it's not my like ideal form of ownership. I think there are consumer co-ops, you know, there are worker co-ops, there are community-led forms of organization and you know more anarchist type things like Murray Bookchin type things, and I prefer those because I find them more granular and more connected to the people who are, you know, either working or who are benefiting from the presence of the service. And the door in shaded wood. So yeah. Oh, I think I know which one you mean. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I know which one you mean. That was the other one I was going to go to. So yeah, when I hear like nationalisation, I do think of some of the problems that UK nationalisation had, and this was, if you remember my train video about Sean, you know, where he was sort of like, oh well, privatisation is bad, which is true. Train privatisation in the UK is shit. Therefore, let's do nationalisation. And I'm like, well, okay, let's invest, because you can't just come to that conclusion, right? And nationalisation did have a lot of problems in the UK. It had, you know, infamously bad service. I mean, the UK train system's just been crap for like the whole time. It wasn't amazing when it was nationalised, and it's certainly not amazing now. So let's think of a better way of doing it. You know, consumer co-ops, worker co-ops, and things like that. Better ways of managing it instead of just saying nationalisation. And I think non-profits might be one way of doing that too, potentially. And I don't know too much about the Welsh. I don't know too much about the Welsh case specifically. I mean, please, you know, post about it. Tell us about it. But it sounds like one potential alternative, and I just think we should be really, really open to exploring alternatives. All companies, some type of cooperative. Maybe. It'd have to be a long-term policy. Oh, hello. These weird little monkeys. Are they dogs? Whoa. Come back here. Are they? Do they come back to life? No. Alex Novat. Alex Nove. Never heard of him. Who's he? Hey, there we go. That's why you do it. Little prick. Any tips for undergraduate econ? I'm going into my second year. Hang in there. What's your course like? Is it quite mainstream, quite mathematical, or is it like, is it more pluralist, or are you satisfied with it? I do think the key to passing a mainstream economics degree is basically just to know a whole load of maths. Like that is the bottom line, unfortunately. You just watched the train video. Oh, that's good. That was my fastest produced video in history. It only took like a month after the philosophy tube video. Just went all in on it. It was slight. I do think the effect. It was slightly unfinished in the sense that I didn't offer a coherent solution. I don't think. Wait, why aren't they actually there? Come on. See, this is why Magic is easy mode, right? Just the range, like I do feel like DS is designed for you to be like close quarters, like going face to face with someone, dodging, parrying, striking at the right time. Ooh. My experience of economics education was basically what led me to like start unlearning economics and become a blogger at the time and like start a Twitter account about how it sucks. And it was really bad. I mean, having done high school A-level economics, I was the first year was basically a repeat of that, but arguably like easier, which I found really dissatisfying. Apart from like not liking the content. Jeez. I have absolutely no idea what just happened there. Yeah, so apart from... Oh, that's a model. Huh, that's funny. Apart from not liking the content, it was just like, it was too easy. All the testing was like multiple choice testing, it was really uninspired, uninspiring. I found it quite boring, to be honest, which is like another reason why I pull back. Ah, that's funny. Well, I'm just gonna have a look around. Yeah, so it was really easy, and really boring. And I just didn't go to my lectures, right? Like, and I just basically like started writing about economics myself on the internet, just because I thought that just felt more interesting. And ah,
Please. No, please, don't come in. Just leave me alone. Leave this place and leave. Please.
jeez. Right, this guy's got problems. Yeah, so like, don't get me wrong. As it went on, there were elements of the degree that I liked. I mean, what do you like about the degree? Because I quite liked applied economics and econometrics. I think that's like an interesting area that kind of kept me engaged, and it's what I ended up going into for like my PhD, was more applied stuff. And but just the theoretical stuff, it was just I completely disconnected from it. I found it completely useless, unfortunately. So I just basically started to think of it as a bunch of mathematical puzzles, which I didn't. I mean, in some cases they may have some relationship to the real world, but it had to be proved, right? I didn't assume that they did, so I was just sitting there like, ha, one of these funny big guys. I was just sitting there like treating it like a maths degree almost, like, or, you know, 80% of it, 70% of it like a maths degree. What's this guy saying? He has a lot of health. Lord Keynes 2 and Robert Vienno. That's such a funny specific question. That is being asked by somebody who was in the economics blogosphere between like 2011 and 2015. Yeah, Robert's a really great guy. I think he's really great with, you know, I find him really interesting on Serafian economics. I use him as a source. Yeah, I find him interesting on like Marxist economics as well, and like basically he uses Serafian economics to critique Marxist and neoclassical economics a lot, as well as, you know, coming to his own sort of Serafian conclusions. So I think he's quite cool. I mean, he's not cool. He's a massive nerd, but he's a cool thinker. So I often keep up. I always have kept up to date with Robert Vienno's blog, and as for Lord Keynes, you know, his blog is and was a really valuable resource. He seemed to just have a remarkable work ethic and, you know, comprehensive guides to post-Keynesian economics. I'd still recommend them to people, things like cost plus pricing and blah blah blah. But like, he really went down the avenue of just being a sort of almost a Trump fan, you know. He went down that alt left kind of, I hate, you know, I'm left wing, I like industrial policy and I hate trade deals, but I also hate immigration. And then it's, you know, he took a side on the culture wars, and it just, there are some people who I kind of disagree with on the culture wars, and it's tolerable, but he became very intolerable, Lord Keynes, unfortunately. He became really, like, you know, over the top about all of these things, dogmatic. He was basically Trump, yeah, sort of Narzbol, or I don't know what you call it. This is a funny little area, isn't it? Like a, where they've been running experiments, like a kind of lab slash museum type thing. Cultural, yeah. I mean, that's part of why I started this channel, because I think economics is something that is like super important and very neglected because of the culture wars. And I think if you get people to a stage where they're more economically secure, then these reactionary tendencies and debates are less likely to come out. I do think that's the case. But I also, okay, right, so all of my stuff is getting broken. Soul Geezer. Is there anything I can actually do to, like, stop? There's a key there. I'm gonna have to go back to a bonfire. Yeah, so, like, we're gonna have to go back to the blacksmith. So, like, I do worry, though, about disengaging from the culture wars completely, because I think it's clear to me that disengaging from them can mean ceding some ground to the right in terms of, you know, things like, I don't know, trans rights. And I mean, we've seen in the US, right, you've now got the repeal of Roe versus Wade. Take off my equipment. Yeah, it's a simple thing to do. I didn't know, I thought it was poison. Not breaking break equipment stuff. Acid? Is it acid? So yeah, like we've seen like the repeal of Roe versus Wade, obviously, and we saw like we've seen like them start to talk about repealing gay marriage, right? So I you know, I don't just want to be like, oh, let's ignore the culture wars, because then that's what happens. Not that I'm saying that happened because people ignored the culture wars, because they didn't, but I'm just saying, you know, if you were to, then you can imagine that being much worse, right? You can imagine that happening fourfold. Where's the That's not where I was. Bar fire. Shrine, undead crypt. Aldea's keep. Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, because it's after the king, isn't it? Interracial marriage, like, yeah, Grove, like, yeah, exactly. Economic is, it is a distraction, right? It's like, if we had better economic policy, I can imagine the culture wars seeming like a smaller issue. Because when did they flare up? Like, people forget. When did they flare up? After the 2008 financial crisis and the subsequent recovery and austerity. And there is research linking austerity to, for example, support for Brexit. When these attitudes flare up, like, is when people are going through economic hardship. You know, it's a straightforward argument, in my opinion, and it's one that's also correct. So I just think better economic policy and people will place, you know, less value on these culture wars. These are like that boss who had like a mirror for a shield. That was quite a cool boss, I thought. Ooh. And you know, you don't. I mean, you do see. You don't see the cultural. They're the most intense in the USA, and the USA is, generally speaking, the country with the most regressive economic policy. And I know that's a very casual comparison. I appreciate that. But like, while you obviously have problems with the far right and things in places like Sweden and Germany, you know, you just don't see as much regression in terms of social policy. Whoops. Yeah, mutant. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but like, it is the case that this all flared up. You know, after, I think after 2008, especially. Goddle's incompleteness. Yeah, Sweden has had an uptick in far right, and so, you know, so have a large number of places. And this is ultimately, I mean, I don't think, I do tend to agree with Carl Polanyi, or it's apparently Palangi, about the market economy, you know, the economy in land, labor, and capital, and what it does to people. And I don't think the social democratic countries have fully decommodified those things. In fact, well, they haven't. You know, as much better as much better as they are at it. Horrible sentence. But you know, they're leaps and bounds over the USA and the UK and some other countries. I really just want to hit this guy to death with my staff. Come on, there we go. But yeah, like it's not, you know, until you've fully dealt with that, the market economy and land, capital and labour, then I think you're going to get a resurgence of, oh, hello, a resurgence of this type of nationalism. Yeah, there's like, yeah, the alienation of labour, I think is a massive, massive issue. I think that's like, if I had to pick one of Marx's insights, I'm going to beat up on Marx quite a lot in my next video. Well, on his theory of value. But I had to pick one of his insights, I think like alienation would be the one where I'd be like, yeah, that is the most important one. Not that it was just him. But like alienation in terms of, I think he was quite prescient in terms of social media, right? Or not prescient. Prescient's the wrong word. What I'm trying to say is, when he talked about things like commodification, it like social media and even this stream, to be honest, like the way how it packages up our time and like our social relations go to a degree that he like couldn't even have anticipated, Marx. And I find his analysis really valuable for understanding that. I think it'll be released in October. So, not too long. Not too long. It just, it's not actually that hard a video because it's something that I sort of already know a fair amount about. But I'm trying to, because a lot of left-wingers tend to believe in the Labour theory of value as a default, that quite a lot of the video is about that specifically, and I would say fully half the video is about the Labour theory of value in its various iterations. So I'm trying to do a thorough job, as thorough as is feasible in that type of video, appraising it. And because I want to convince people to stop like just assuming it, because I think one of the issues with left wingers is like on YouTube or something, they'll just be like, okay, gonna need to. They'll just say they believe in the Labour theory of value, and you're like, okay, but there's so much to it. Like there's so much to it that I feel like people don't appreciate, and it opens up such a mess of crap, that theory of value. Like any theory of value, like any scientific theory. But if you treat the Labour theory of value seriously as a scientific theory, it runs into a lot of problems. And there's been decades and decades of research into this, you know, whether theoretical or empirical, which is all really interesting. And I don't think that it feels like a lot of leftists on YouTube, for instance, when they invoke the Labour theory of value, they're not really familiar with this research. These enemies, yeah, they're cute in the way they waddle towards you until they fucking destroy all your equipment with their acid cloud. You can help me with TF2. You know, I've never played Team Fortress. It's a shooter, right? I'm so bad at shooters. I think I got an issue with like, well, not an issue, a mild issue with how jerky my hand is. So like I can't, like when I'm on the mouse, my aiming is awful. which is just, I mean, that's like most of a shooting game, right? It's being good at shooting, and I'm just not. Oh my god, hello. Fuck yeah, now. Alright, back in here. Are you familiar with works on the LTV such as Meek's studies in the LTV, Sweezy's... Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. That'll serve me right for reading a comment while I was in a sorcerer fight. Are you familiar with works on LTV such as Meek's studies in the LTV, Sweezy's work, Steedman's Marks After Straffer, Kleeman's TSSI arguments, and Hendrick? About half of all of those things, yes. Oh, that sounds interesting, NG Spy. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, I'm going to branch out from software games. I think I'm not going to play Dark Souls 3 for a while. Because what? Well, I haven't played Sekiro, but like I feel like Sekiro is a bit of an outlier. Like I know it's supposed to be really, really hard, and it revolves around swords in particular. So I'm not. I mean, I will play it. I'm not as interested in it. But yeah, I want to branch out and play like Team Fortress. There are other games I've thought about playing. League of Legends, for example. I want to go back to Age of Empires as well. Age of Empires 4. I haven't played enough of that. Yeah, fuck. There's a lot of games, although off the top of my head, I'm not remembering them properly. But yeah, like so. Yeah, Marks After Straffer, really good. I've read Joan Robinson on it. I've read a lot of Michael Roberts as well. You know, I should really have the dagger equipped here, because... Oh. Thought I could stab her in the back. Disco Elysium. Yeah, and there's like... So what happens in Disco Elysium? What type of game is it? Amwar Sheikh, yeah. I haven't read that much Amwar Sheikh, actually. I know, I mean, he's got that book which is like super long. It's like 1,000 pages long. Is that the one you're referring to? Because I know of some of his critiques. I know he's very like, he's not into production functions, for instance. He's really... He has a lot of critiques of like neoclassical theory that I'm partly familiar with. And then he's got his own kind of positive theories. But I don't know how he interprets the Labour theory of value. I mean, this is a point I will make in the video, right? It's like, as soon as you start talking about the Labour theory of value, and I'm not trying to accuse anyone specifically of doing this in my chat or anyone, you know, even in the space, but, you know, you get a whole mess of recommendations and of like, you know, people who, you know, everyone likes a different person and a different interpretation of it. And then you go into it and you go into the... What's going on here? Why? Oh, I know what happened. My ring broke that gives me additional spells, and then I fixed the ring, but I didn't put the spells back in because they obviously defaulted away. So that's why I don't have any fucking spells. Okay. Right. Am I just gonna kill this guy? Right, okay, so that gives me a shortcut. So yeah, it's like, you know, there will be a point where I have to say, okay, I'm not reading this other author on the Labour theory of value because I've got to, you know, finish the video and, you know, live my life, eat food and all the rest of it. So yeah, like I won't be able to do justice to every single thing that's out there. And I won't claim to, like, but I'm gonna do the best I can within the format and within, you know, the time I've got. Because yeah, some of the stuff on, I don't know, some like I don't the idea of value in a scientific theory, and this goes for all theories of value. It's unobservable, right? And I don't like building theories around these unobservables. I just think you end up basically, you got the transformation problem and all that with the Labour theory of value, but it's like you end up like somehow having to transform the unobservable into the observable. And it's true for the subjective theory of value as well, because you've got people who are like, oh, you know, let's look at choices instead of preferences, and then they're like, oh, choices are actually preferences, and then it's sort of like you get something similar where it's like, oh, prices are actually an expression of value, you know, wages are actually subjective value, or they're socially necessary labor time, and it's like basically what you're trying to explain prices and output and value added, but you end up doing it, there's a circularity, you know, this is something that I keep realizing. It's like every time you try and explain prices with values, you end up saying, oh well, oh, so we're just up here, okay, so I don't need to go down there and destroy all my stuff again. But now I've completely run out of, I mean, I guess I've got quite a lot of these, so I'll just use one of these. Yeah, but you end up just circular reasoning, basically, just explaining prices and costs through prices and costs. Hey, I haven't been invaded again. Oh, here we are. Neuroeconomic theories of value. Jeez. Now that sounds like a rabbit hole I haven't been down. Oh. Do I base my price theory on the neoclassical theory of price? No. No, I tend to go with a more institutional, like, or post-Keynesian approach. Which means, like, Jesus Christ, historical. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, just used the wrong thing. Yeah, more of a kind of historical approach. So I mean, in a sense, I would say I don't have a theory of value. I prefer just to go with the historical approach. Alright, okay, I'm going to need fire resistance for this. Jeez. This is bigger than most of the DS2 bosses, right? They're all like small little warriors and stuff. Really. I mean, they're bigger than the player, but they're... Oh, jeez. Did I just die? Oh, for fuck's sake. That's alright. I need to attune my spells anyway. Change my equipment. Yeah, do I think the same about demand and supply curves? I mean, yeah, like Hey, I made a whole video about that, buddy. Heavy soul arrow. Great heavy, great. What do I want? Soul greatsword. Heavy homing soul arrow. Mate, just give me straight up soul arrows everywhere. Soul geyser. Um, the Phillips curve seems like neoliberal bullshit to me. Can you tell me what I'm missing? it it I think it's I mean I would say that more the more modern ideas of like I don't like having my staff here. The more modern idea of like the NIRU, the non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, which is related to the Phillips curve, I would call that bullshit, like for sure. Because it's this idea that like there's a level of unemployment that you can't actually go like below, and if you do then you'll end up um with like accelerating inflation, which I just think is completely wrong. Like there can be demand led growth, which is something that we need right now, and which we're probably getting right now, and it will show itself over the next couple of years. So I think that's bullshit. Like it just keeps unemployment high, and you've got this erosion of labor bargaining power, which has basically meant, I mean, ironically, that given your comment that the Phillips curve has broken down, right? If Phillips curve means that lower inflation generally means like higher unemployment, and vice versa, an inverse relationship, then it's um it's broken down in recent years because of the decline in worker bargaining power. It only applied, if it ever did, at a time when workers actually had bargaining power. Blue Dragon Ring. How did that hit me? I swear that was fucking ages away. Wait, what? I don't know where that was going. He takes quite a lot of damage, this guy, though. Look. Oh, it's too far away. Too far away. I get it. Oh, jeez. Why do you think modern economics is so rooted in mathematics and not, let's say, history? I think there were a variety of internal and external currents within the discipline that led to that situation. Um, and there was an internal drive to make economics seem more scientific, right? I think that was clear. There were lots of currents within the discipline from the marginal revolution with Jevons and Volras and Menga to a lesser degree and Perito as well. You had this kind of drive, right, to do that and make it seem more scientific, and Alfred Marshall too. But and then much later you had like Paul Samuelson, Milton Friedman as well, Robert Lucas. These people all wanted to make economics more scientific, and I think they wanted to do that maybe partly for ideological reasons. I think there were ideological reasons there, but also for intellectual reasons, right? They believed in mathematics. You know, they wanted economics to be a science, and that was a strand that you might have had within the literature anyway. But then I think there was some real big political currents as well. Ooh, I like this area. Some massive like political currents, you know, to do with the Cold War and with making economics seem more scientific would also.
Bearer of the curse, long have I awaited one such as you. One who can set bearer of the curse. The ancient dragon has watched. Take this. Do not resist.
She doesn't want to talk anymore. So yeah, so the Cold War, there was, and there are papers written on this. I mean, there was a recent review of Elizabeth Berman's book, Thinking Like an Economist, about the Red Scare and how that buoyed this kind of thinking, this thinking in terms of like efficiency, the kind of technocratic stuff that seemed to a degree apolitical, was a good weapon. Ironically, for people who were kind of progressive, you know, you could advocate technocratic policy solutions and not be seen as communist, right? So you could not be, you know, properly accused of communism if you did that. Yes, more slots. Let's do this as well. Yeah, so that was a big factor. Yeah, not just the kind of internal currents, but these external political winds, I think, are perhaps underestimated. I've got another slot. I want like one of these fucking mad ones, like Soul Bolt. What does this do? See, that one's only got like one. Yeah, so I think that's the reason really, because you had like the German historical school in the 1930s, where they um where they well the clues in the name, they took a much more historical approach, and that was really it was quite progressive, and it was like institutionalist in that it looked at kind of the history and the specific institutions, and they helped design the New Deal, for example. But that was completely neglected, and I just wonder, without, because I don't think it was superior. I don't buy into like weak history of ideas or anything. And you might have seen it persist if there hadn't been these outside political currents. Oh, mate, what? Do I just have to fight? When he says when she was like, the dragon will welcome you. Is that just the same as the boss I've just done? Oh, I thought I'd avoided that. Maybe not. Decoupling, degrowth, or neither? Yeah, I mean, neither, like, I don't... I've always said this, like, GDP growth seems like a really weird thing to focus on. Like, you know, if we pursue the right policies for climate change, that involves expanding some things and scaling down others. You know, it involves expanding the renewable energy industry, public transport, carbon capture, probably. Oh, hello. And a bunch of other stuff. But it also involves, you know, scaling down concrete production and um, you know, planned obsolescence and fast fashion and meat and cars and the fossil fuel industry in general, right? You know, scaling out to the point of abolishing these things, maybe. Eggs, dragon eggs. Do I want these dragon eggs? I thought they might have something in them. So, but you know, degrowth, degrowth versus green growth or decoupling or whatever. It erupts on Twitter every so often, and I very rarely get involved because I mean, I just like you got people like Jason Hickel, right, who are involved in that quite heavily, and I don't, you know, I kind of like Jason Hickel. I have mixed feelings about some of his work, but I really don't like the attitude of a lot of mainstream economists towards him. I think I don't think they really know what they're talking about, and I think they pretend that they do. Oh fuck! There's massive use of this type of the braking mechanic in this. Decommodification of the commons and scaling down of large sectors of the economy. Well, it might do, but then what about the expansion, the massive expansion of like public transport and you know, the fossil fuels sector, and it, you know, oh my god, um, which is before we've even got into the fact that like GDP itself as a measure, a lot of it these days is like imputed, and I think, oh, is loads of my stuff already broken? Mate, these guys are a pain. Is imputed and doesn't actually bear that much relation to physical production. So like the financial sector, you know what I mean? The financial sector does contribute to GDP these days, and it didn't used to, but whether or not that's true is not directly relevant to like how much physical throughput the sector has. Like, oh, can I? Okay. Right, another one. In the words of DJ Khaled. Ugh. Fucking hell. Not being able to aim will be the death of me. Is the LTV essential for Marxian critique? No, I absolutely do not think so. I mean, there's a really interesting paper by David Harvey about this, and you know, a lot of the ideas around crisis, things that Harvey's developed, like about financialization and fictitious capital. I just don't think they really rely on the LTV. Yeah, I think there's so much more to Marxism than it. Ooh, that was good. You don't get many souls for killing those dragons who were bosses. Fucking hell, another one. Alright. Right. Let's get this fucking soul bolt out. Wait, does that not do anything? You got to be really close. Oh, that's such a... What an anticlimax. I can definitely cheese this one. As long as I don't fall off the edge. Which I am prone to doing. Yeah, David Harvey's paper on crisis theory and the falling rate of profit is good. The leaked Labour Party papers. I actually haven't looked at them. Jeez. Okay, he's finally wised up and run away. Alright, there we go. I'm hoping these guys don't come back, by the way. Otherwise this area is just like ridiculous. No. I got him. No, I didn't get him. Bastard. Yeah, so see, Paul Cockshot is somebody I've looked into, and I don't find anything he says particularly convincing, I have to admit. Oh, wait, no! Wait, which fucking Cockshot am I thinking of? There's Paul and there's Alexander. No, it's Paul. Yeah. Paul Cockshot, yeah, I don't find him very convincing. Blair Fix had a really good, you know Blair Fix? Economics from the Top Down, that's the name of his blog. Is there another dragon here? I'm not killing any more dragons. I have to go soon as well. I've already been here. I mean, I actually don't know that specific Paul Cockshot paper, so it might be correct, but it's on the tendency of the rate of profit to fall, that paper. Harvey's one. Critiques of credit as it currently exists. Off the top of my head, no. Like, I mean, what? I mean, there's... The first thing that springs to mind for me is like some of the stuff on like Islamic finance, although I'm not especially knowledgeable about it at all. Maybe this is a lack of imagination, but I do find it hard to imagine a system without credit. I mean, are you talking about like any post-Keynesian author will, yeah, have things to say about the current credit system and the various issues with it? So if you're talking about like, sort of reforms and radical reforms, you can read people like even Steve Keen has talked about like debt jubilees and things like that and how to change the the current credit system. In terms of like critiquing the system from the ground up, I don't know. I mean, Graeber kind of did this, but his was more of a historical analysis, right? I'm actually making it to the... Ah, I thought the dragons were going to start attacking me while I was on the thing. Oh, it's this guy again. Basically, what they're saying is, does this thing is saying, do I want to relight the fire, right? Rekindle the fire and bring life, or basically put out the fire and bring humanity out of the grip of the gods? Do I intend to do that? I think that's what they're asking. The story is extremely opaque, as we know in these games. What's my choice? Well, I already said no once before. I said no before when I saw them. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of this one. Let's try this one instead. Insufficient attribute. Oh, shit. Alright, fine. I just have loads of fucking soul arrows. Oh, right. Custard lemon. I don't know about that. I mean, Marx, yeah. He did. I think... no, Harvey claimed that he didn't think the tendency of the rate of profit to fall was that important. And he thinks that Engels put it into his work afterwards. More. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that element of it is true. I mean, technological advancements can reduce our work hours, but the problem is they don't if you've not got the right institutions in place, right? So, I think if you automate, you can replace somebody's job, but that's not really the angle that you can. Sorry, you can replace somebody's job and they can survive, right? You see what I mean? Like they can get the money, the resources that are produced by the automation in the same way as when they did the job. But the problem is, you know, in capitalist economies, that's disconnected. The amount of jeez. You know, the resources are disconnected. Like, unless you're getting wages. Am I being attacked by someone else? Oh, no, that's still him. So whether or not you actually get access to resources is connected to whether you have a job. That's stupid. Oh, I am getting attacked by someone else. Oh, that... No Pharos Lockstone. Where do you get Pharos Lockstones? Like... At one point I had loads, and then I went to this area where I fucking... Oh. Oh, he's got really staggered attacks, this one. Pretty unrelenting. Did I use them in the area with the giant gross dog boss? Some of them. Yeah, like... Yeah, that's where a lot of them did get used. Does it? But there were loads that I... Like, there were loads of the faces that I didn't, like, fill in with the lockstones. Do they do anything? Oh, fuck off. Oh yeah, I turned it down. I find it hard to dodge that one. I turned it down when I was fighting the king. Because it just like... It was so much louder. Oh, okay. So there's no point in using them, okay. Well, luckily I didn't... There were... Is that just from a dragon? Mate, what the fuck's going on here? Luckily I didn't, like, fall into the trap of just opening them all. Yeah, this... I'm not connected to the internet on this, like it won't let me, and I don't really understand. Oh my god. Right. I'm gonna go and get her. Great stuff. 2 of them. See, I like this because this delays him. Oh, that was so unlucky. Oh, jeez. Alright. I've got to go. Got to go anyway. I have friends coming round. Just put my Ring of Binding on. Well, actually, no. Let's put the Ring of Life on. Oh, no, the Ring of Life's already on. Let's put this one on then. And use one of these. Because there's no point of being hollow when you've got 23 human effigies. Right. Use Hex Magic. I'll try Hex Magic next time, Nathaniel. Yeah. See you all soon. I'm speaking to Rodrigo Aguilera about Steven Pinker on Tuesday, so make sure to check that out. Love you all. Bye.